Shabbat Shalom, Kol Ami. Shabbat Shalom, founders. It is so awesome to have you all in one room together. If you're outside giving hugs, I promise there'll be more time to hug and greet. Find a seat. My name is Rabbi Lindy Resnick, and it is my honor to kick off our Founders Day Shabbat this evening. And we begin by acknowledging some special people who are with us tonight. We want to welcome West Hollywood Vice Mayor John Heilman and West Hollywood City Council Member John Erickson, who are both with us tonight. We thank you for being here with us, and they bring us commendations from the city of West Hollywood on this Founders Day Shabbat. We are so grateful for your partnership in our blessed community. We also want to welcome back Cantor Mark Saltzman, who is back with us tonight. Awesome to have you, Cantor Mark. And I welcome back to the Bima Dor Kaminka and Ronnie Mardor and Aileen, who is normally with us for the High Holy Days as well. What an incredible musical combination. We have Evan Ma'asu Habonim Haita Lerosh Pina. The stone the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. Psalm 118:22. Our community was built from this stone and grew into a thriving place of community and spiritual belonging. And tonight we celebrate it, and we celebrate you, our founders, and we are grateful to be together for Shabbat. Let's sing it in.
הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, יאללה ליי, יאללה ליי, ליי. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, יאללה ליי, יאללה ליי. הנה מה טוב וטוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
Yes, the words are easy. A and
O. One more time, a little bit louder.
As we prepare to light our Shabbat candles, I invite you to think about what is your intention, what is your kavanah, what are you seeking tonight? Are you here in need of peace? Are you here in need of connection, unity, community, love, uplift? Whatever it is that you seek tonight, I invite you now to call that in. And it is my honor to call forward Dan Blatt, Richard Bernard, Toby Rosen, Wendy Glenn, and Marianne Lowenthal to help me light the Shabbat candles.
Skipping.
We're on page 120. These beautiful people have honored us by sponsoring your lovely meal this evening, and we honor them by helping them usher Shabbat in for us. So as we light the candles, bring to mind that kavanah, that intention, that focus that you have. And when both candles are lit, we will bring the light 3 times into our eyes.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvah tov v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter the sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love.
Amen. You
Amen.
can stay up here while we sing the blessing.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו להדליק נר של שבת.
So, we have a special treat for you tonight, and there'll be many opportunities for us to thank our founders. Hopefully, many of our founders have founder written on their name tags, but there'll be opportunities for them to be identified throughout the service so that you can thank them now or later. We are deeply grateful for each of you. Our founding rabbi, Rabbi Denise Egger, was not able to be with us tonight, and she has some words to share with you.
Shabbat Shalom, Kol Ami. I'm so glad to be with you, at least virtually tonight. I wish I could be there in person as you celebrate Founders Shabbat, but unfortunately, not this time. We'll look forward to the next time to be together in person. What a wonderful idea Rabbi Resnick and the board of the temple had to celebrate our founders. What a great time that was, exciting time, and a difficult time as well. In the spring of '93, 35 people came together to decided that there needed to be a new congregation, a new vision for how to be LGBTQ plus our families and friends who stood with us in the world. A place of safety, a place of love, a place where you could be all of yourself all of the time. And so in the spring of 1993, 35 people came together, met a few times in different people's homes, and 5 people stepped forward to become what we call the interim steering committee. It is their names that are our founding documents, and they were John Altschul of blessed memory, Harvey Weiner of blessed memory, Marlene Bram of blessed memory, and Mason Summers and Wendy Glenn. And they signed the incorporation papers, drawn up, I would say, by Kerry Davidson and his law firm, and filed with the state of California. And in May of '93, we received our documents of incorporation. And in May of '93, we held our very, very first Shabbat evening service at the home of John Altschul. It was a joyous event where 70 people came together. And we used to brag. We were the only temple in town at the time with valet parking. And we had with us on that first evening borrowed prayer books from Temple Isaiah. Rabbi Robert Gann shared prayer books with us that we used till we could buy our own, and a Torah scroll on loan from Temple Adat Elohim in Thousand Oaks. From Rabbi Alan Greenbaum, sent 2 of his lay leaders to be with us and to share the Torah and bring the Torah with us. And we had it on loan with us for several months till we could purchase our own first Torah scroll. Those early years were interesting years of the office was in my home. The Torah lived in my home. And for many years till we had our own congregation building. The first year we had services at the beginning twice a month, and we met at the West Hollywood Presbyterian Church at Sunset and Martell under the leadership of my good friend, the late Reverend Daniel Smith. That church now is the United Church of Christ. We always had a close relationship with that congregation that was predominantly LGBTQ, but not exclusively. And we did many things. Why a new congregation in those times? Listen, in 1993 was the height of the AIDS crisis. Most of us had lost so many lovers and friends and family. There were no drugs at the time that helped keep HIV AIDS at bay, nor any of the opportunistic infections that were part of the scenario of when one had AIDS. And so it was a time of great trauma, a time of great turmoil, a first pandemic, and we wanted to be a place of community gathering in West Hollywood, which didn't have a liberal congregation. There was only the Russian Chabad and the old conservative synagogue, Hollywood Beth El, which was homophobic to say the least. And so we became the alternative, the place for not just LGBTQ Jews, but for many straight family and friends who've been part and active and involved in the congregation from the very beginning. There were early organizing meetings before our first service, including one meeting at Wendy Glenn's home and another meeting at Marlene Bram's home, where people discussed all of the details of what would it mean to start a new synagogue, what would it mean, what should we call ourselves. In the end, those 5 original incorporators and the founding steering committee members also met with me, and they brought me on as their rabbi. And what a privilege it has been all of these years to serve our congregation, to lead it and to watch it grow and thrive. And as we celebrate the many people who contributed to the growth and well-being of our congregation, many of you who are here tonight and watching, many who have also passed on, who were integral, especially in those very, very, very early years, setting not only the tone for our congregation, but gave of their time and their energy and their love. And I think of so many people. Of course, 3 of our founding steering committee members are now deceased, John and Marlene, and Harvey, who was our first treasurer, Marlene, who was the secretary. Eventually that executive committee, that steering committee, transitioned into some of the executives of the first board of the congregation, which was elected in January of '94. And then in the spring of '94, we moved the temple to its very, very first office space at 8400 Sunset Boulevard in the bottom of the Best Western Hotel. We had an office suite and some meeting spaces, but we continue to meet at West Hollywood Presbyterian for 10 years, starting first twice a week and then every week, every Friday night, and until we built our own building. And so I salute those who gave of their time, their love, their money, some of who are still with us, of course, many of you here tonight who will speak, and of course, those who have gone to the Olam Haba, the world to come. I think of them with love. I think of them each year on their yahrzeits, and we would not be the community we are today without the folks that really helped bring Kol Ami into the world. And so on this Founder Shabbat, I wish you well. I wish you continued success, Kol Ami, under the leadership of Rabbi Resnick. And I wish each of you a wonderful and restful Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom.
לך לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לה 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 לה, לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. לה 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 לה, לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לה 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 לה, לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לה 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 לה, לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
Please rise. We face the doors and greet the Shabbat bride.
בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני ים סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לה 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 לה, לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לה 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 לה, לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
So don't sit down yet. A few notes. I'm going to give you a moment and a moment to greet each other. It's not going to be long enough. I'm telling you that now because this room is filled with so many wonderful people. So you'll have a few moments to greet and welcome old friends or new friends. And I'm going to invite the founders that are with us, after you've greeted one or two people, to come towards the bima to help us open the ark for the Baruch Hu. Welcome to our friends online. Welcome to our friends here in person. Please take a moment and greet someone. Wish them Shabbat Shalom. founders forward to help us open the ark. Founders, please join us on the bima. It remains standing, and we turn to page 146 for the Baruch Hu. Thank you to our founders. We honor you. We are grateful for you. Another applause. We are grateful. We turn now to page 148. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, בחוכמה פותח שערים ובתבונה משנה עיתים, ומחליף את הזמנים ומסדר את הכוכבים, במשמרותיכם בהרקיע כרצונו. בורא יום ולילה, גולל אור מפני חושך וחושך מפני אור, ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו. אל חי וקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני המעריב ערבים. So you can take a seat. I'm sorry. I got so into the prayer I forgot to tell you what to do. I'm so excited by you founders here. So that prayer is about evening coming on and how nature and God's creations tell us of these times in our life, these liminal spaces, these in-between moments. And we wanted to make sure to acknowledge you founders in some meaningful ways. Not only just with having you stand in front of our Torah, and I have to say, to have a full bima filled with founders standing in front of our Torahs on this bima filled my heart with so much love. But we also want you to know that you are being remembered and honored also in nature, also in the Holy Land. And so on behalf of our congregation, 18 trees will be planted in Israel in your honor. And this certificate says, 18 trees are planted in honor of our founding members for your dedication and service to the creation of Congregation Kol Ami, with gratitude from myself and from the Kol Ami Board of Trustees. So thank you so much. I invite forward Bill Weingarten oh my goodness. I invite forward the Honorable Judge Bill Weinberger to accept this on your behalf.
Behalf of a group of founders that I'm honored to be among.
We offer immense love, and we ask for love for our entire world, which is so in need of love right now. So let us fill our sanctuary with love, the love that we all need, the love that people all over the world need. Ahavat Olam is that prayer. It's in your prayer books on page 150 or on the screen above.
אהבת עולם, בית ישראל, עמך אהבת, עמך אהבת. תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגה יומם ולילה, נגה יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל, אוהב עמו ישראל.
We invite you, if it is your practice, to rise for the Shema, our prayer of unity and connection with all Jews all across the world. You may choose to make a shin and cover your eyes. Please join us as we chant the Shema together.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod, Mam Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed.
You may be seated. We turn to page 154 for the Ve'ahavta. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי לצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וקשבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. We think of freedom, of the freedom that is needed everywhere, of the freedom that we fight for together as a community. Mi Chamocha is on page 158.
מלכותך ראו בניך בוקע הים לפני משה זה אלינו ואמרו זה אלינו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
Well, it's an honor to have with us so many good friends, and I invite one of them up now, our Cantor Emeritus, Cantor Mark Saltzman, who is going to sing Vishamru. Welcome home, Mark. Without a mic, Mark. I mean, you could, but then they can't hear you online.
I don't go the obstacle course. All righty.
Vishamru is found, my friends, on page 160. Just as Shabbat has kept the Jewish people, so too the Jewish people have kept Shabbat.
And then this prayer, as you well know, is a creation prayer. So this is all about in 7 days, God created the earth. We rest after that. The creating of a synagogue, the founding of a synagogue, is an impressive feat. And to keep it going all of these years with the vibrancy and the community and the love that we all have shared here is beyond imagination. It's beyond anything we could ever really conceive when we started it, and yet here we are celebrating it. So thank you to all of you who had this idea of doing this and of creating.
And you'll find the words on 162.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, את השבת. לא לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, ברית עולם.
Amen. You don't need a microphone, Cantor. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Good Shabbos. So, on behalf of the founders, I asked Mason Summers, who is one of the founding members that Rabbi Denise Egger was speaking about in our video earlier. I asked Mason to share a few words with you. So please share some words with our founders.
Sure. Well, thank you. Don't worry, I have very large font here. And it occurs to me that I probably should have spoken to Rabbi Egger about what she might say, because I can get rid of the first page of my presentation this evening, to share with you a little bit about the history, but also I think it challenges me to go a little bit more personal than I had anticipated. You know, as she mentioned, many of us in this room came together at a very difficult time in the history of our community. The context was that we were at the height of the AIDS crisis, having lost hundreds of our friends and families, thousands at that point, and we really had no place to turn. For a young rabbi starting off to be burying contemporaries, even people sometimes younger than she, was a real challenge. We came together because there was a rift, of course, in the board of directors of the former synagogue, as many synagogues had been founded based on the same kind of principles, that there was injustice. And injustice is something that Rabbi Egger will not tolerate, and that we as a community had come to expect, but no longer. We wanted to live a different kind of life. So out of that dispute with contracts, the city of West Hollywood presented itself as an opportunity because there was no Reform synagogue at the time. We had been living in what many refer to, those of you who are sociologists, as a culture of oppression. In our former congregation, we did not identify by our full names nor our professions because it wasn't safe. This was a privilege that people today don't really recognize was not available to everyone at the time. So our quest was for something more affirmative, something that was positive, something that allowed us to live as proud gay, lesbian individuals and not to hide, particularly in a place of our sanctuary, where we could be whole, where we could bring our partners, whether they be Jewish or not. There used to be a joke that Congregation Kol Ami had the largest congregation of non-Jews in any congregation. And that may be fine. An important note was that even for those of you who may not remember, up until 1974, it was diagnosable to be a homosexual. The DSM manual was not changed until 1974. That was the year that I was graduating high school and starting my career as a clinician, fighting for my own rights to become licensed in the state of California. So despite the huge strides in human rights, many still suffered under the stigma and the hateful fear of being identified as lesbian and gay. Gay bars were still raided in the 70s and by police, and we did not enjoy the protections of equal protections under the law for employment or housing. So the members of our initial steering committee, who have already been named, got together and we made a proposal to the rabbi. We met at a delicatessen, which is now defunct. And the reason that we became founders and the steering committee is that the five of us committed to guarantee the rabbi's salary for that first year. Thankfully, because of the rising of the community and the diligent hard work of so many of our founding members, we were never called upon to actually do that. Once Rabbi had agreed, the task was to name our congregation, and we all met at a home and wrote down names and put them in a punch bowl. And there was an agreement that we didn't want to have a ch in the title because it was very difficult for a lot of people to get that ch in their name. So after a lot of debate, two names surfaced. The first one was Sukkot Shalom, a tabernacle of peace, which certainly was appropriate given the unrest in the community and the challenges that we faced. And the second was Kol Ami, the voice of my people. And that was voted on in the living room of the home of Marlene Bram. That name was very apt because there were so many who felt that their voice would not be heard. And sadly, we are encroaching upon a time in which that silence has befallen many as well. So our first Shabbat was at John Auschul's, as Rabbi mentioned. And because John was very flip about being able to say that it was the first congregation to have valet parking, Kol Ami, unfortunately, was seen as elitist because somehow to be proud of who you were, to stand tall, and to demand respect was arrogant, was elitist, but it was what we strove for. Kerry Davidson was in charge of our articles of incorporation, and within the first 3 months, we had 100 households as members. As Rabbi mentioned, we met twice a month. What she didn't mention is that our first High Holy Day services was at Temple Akiba, and Rabbi and I spent the day before on the floor with scissors cutting frayed carpeting so that our members wouldn't trip because it wasn't the beautiful shul that exists today under the guidance of Rabbi Shapiro. As people, we wanted and needed weekly Shabbat services, and we came to grow. Our congregation was forged out of struggle and trauma, which is often where we as Jewish people seem to find our roots that bear fruit. Somehow, in today's climate, we find ourselves at similar crossroads. I was privileged in my own thoughts to not need a congregation, but I believe that there should be one for those who believed and wanted a place to worship. I was not bar mitzvah until my 40th birthday, and that was after the foundation of Congregation Kol Ami. But I will tell you that the reality is that I didn't know that I needed a congregation. Because as many of you know, almost 15 years ago, I stood before you very sick, in need of a heart transplant. And it wasn't until one of our congregants, Robin Waxner, approached me and she said, I know people much older than you, and they look much better than you, and you need help. And so she gave me a name and she said, if you ever want a different consult, you call me. And I took the name, and miracle of miracles, I reached out and was able to be seen by the foremost specialist. But it was because of my connections with this congregation. And I will tell you that in my darkest moments, on machines to keep me alive, I could feel the prayers of this congregation willing me alive. They came in waves. People would text me after they had been to services and said, I mentioned your name in shul. And I knew it. I felt it. So despite my protestations that I didn't need a congregation, I benefited tremendously from the love and support and prayers that all of you offered. I could say that the first time that my beloved husband fell in love with me was with my voice, which is much easier to fall in love with than my whole self. But that was because I was sitting in front of him, behind him at a Congregation Kol Ami meeting, and the rest is history, now 28 plus years of our being together. I had the privilege of having a Torah reading, which at this last High Holy Days, I was able to gift to a newer congregant, and hopefully that tradition will continue. The reality is that the rabbi asked me recently if I believed that we still needed a gay and lesbian congregation. And my first inclination was to say no, because there was a thought that our goal was to become mainstream. The reality is that many congregations have openly gay and lesbian and trans congregants in them. There are multiples of lesbian and gay clergy and rabbis, even in the city of Los Angeles. And then I thought, I have a different perspective. In the context of the current climate that we live in, where our sense of safety and family and security are daily under threat, I believe that the need remains. At 68, white, male, with tremendous privilege, it may be that I am not personally at risk as so many are. I'm also married to a Canadian, so I have options. However, not everyone is in this kind of position. And we have to remember that as a community, we have to respect the needs of everyone, not just those of us who may be able to survive with greater ease. We are currently living through and have survived what for many of us in this room is our second pandemic, and thankfully we are still here. I look in this room and see so many magnificent people who truly took leadership roles in the development of this building. The interiors created in large part to Hope Faust, the contracts and negotiations of construction with Marianne Lowenthal and others who provided legal skills. To have an award-winning architect to design a spiritual place for gay and lesbian Jews, and now gay, lesbian, trans, LGBTIA plus individuals and their families and those who support them. So, although I am still feeling quite vital, and I have played a part not only in our congregation's development, but also in that of the Gay and Lesbian Community Services Center here in Los Angeles, of which I was privileged to be a board member. The reality is that these battles are best fought by the next generation, alongside those of us who came before. So in our congregation, I call to you, those of you who are younger, to take up this fight, to keep our temple alive for our current members and for the generations to come. And they will be coming. The reality is that gay people still keep happening. Not necessarily by us, but it keeps happening. Blame the heterosexuals for that. I have fought the battles for women's rights, gay rights, trans rights, politically and socially. And as a clinical psychologist who works with individuals dealing with trauma, The reality is that the trauma is not stopping. Ram likes to say that, many of our people talk about PTSD, but the reality is that we have TSD. We are dealing with traumatic stress disorder on a daily basis. Currently, as our rights and privileges seem to be under attack, we cannot afford not to be vigilant. We must stand up. I call upon you younger folk to stand with us and to take the lead in keeping our congregation strong and maintaining a safe place where we can worship in our wholeness of our identities, that we hide from no one, we hide not from our God, because this is who created us, this is who we are, and we should hold our head proudly and stand tall in the face of these injustices. Many of the people in this room gave not only their time and energies and monies, some gave their lives. People sacrificed. On a personal note, I was to be the father of two individuals with Rabbi and her partner. But the congregation took precedence over our second child in our family, but we are blessed to have our son Ben and now a grandson Harry. So the reality is that we still forge forward. I call upon you to find a way to make this happen, to keep this dream alive, even if it's not for you, but for somebody that you know, for the son or daughter of somebody that you know, who you have the feeling may need a place to call home and to feel safe, where they can be who they are. Together, perhaps with the wisdom of our founders, and there is immense wisdom in these founding members, and the courage and energies of all of you younger people, that we will remain a Sukkot Shalom, a tabernacle of peace, and the voice of so many among us who in these times must remain silent. So I thank you. It has been a privilege to be a founding member of this congregation and to see so many wonderful, wizened faces among us. And I turn it over to you, next generation, to keep this vibrancy going. And I call upon you to take on leadership, to keep our congregation strong, that at some point, the reality is that you may be lighting the lights in the back of the room for those of us who are in the room tonight. And there will be more, and God bless you all.
Yasha Koa. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Lisa. A token, a small token for all of your hard work. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is now my honor to invite forward a member of our Board of Trustees, Daniel Blatt, to offer some words about one of our founding members of blessed memory.
To the founders who are here today and to those who have passed, I have two words. Thank you. The Jewish year 5767, 2006 to 2007, was the year I joined Kol Ami. It was also one of the most challenging years of my life. But with Rabbi Eger's spiritual counsel and friendship, and this community's welcome, I made it through and emerged a stronger person. Had you not founded Kol Ami, I might have remained adrift for more than just a few months. So again, I repeat, thank you. Thank you very much. During that difficult year, few in the congregation knew me, but several were always welcoming, including two we have lost, Richard Frank and our founding president, John Altschul. John may have been curmudgeonly at times, but he had a great warmth. John was many things, many, many things. But one word comes to mind whenever I think of John: avuncular. John Altschul was the gay uncle we all wished we had when we were growing up. John may not have been there when I first came out, but he was here when I first came to Kol Ami. And for that, I will be forever grateful. Thank you, founders, and thank you, John.
They're pretty amazing, aren't they? So now it's our time to go inward, to offer the prayers that you need to offer that are upon your hearts tonight, whether they be the prayers of our tradition or something personal that has been stirred by these amazing people, individuals, by their words and their mission. I invite you, if you are able, to please rise as we open the ark for the Amidah.
Adonai שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך.
You may pray the prayers of our tradition or the prayers upon your heart, and when you are done, you may be seated.
אמר על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל שלומך? שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם.
Amen. Abyssal of Torah for you all. You might have noticed the orange roses next to our candles today. They are in honor of the Bibas family. This week, the Jewish world mourned with the Bibas family as mother Shiri and her two toddlers, Ariel and Kafir, were buried in Israel on Thursday. 100,000 Israelis lined the streets on the road to their burial site, a communal showing of support and love for the Bibas family, welcoming them back home. And Shiri's husband, Yarden Bibas, who was kidnapped on October 7th, 2023, survived 484 days in captivity by Hamas. And he spoke to his deceased wife and two toddlers at their gravesite. I can't help but wonder if it was his love for Shiri and Ariel and Kafir that kept him alive during those impossible days in captivity. The Bibas family are all buried together in one casket. The Hebrew word saviv means all around. This word is found 3 times in our Torah portion this week. The communal grief and the communal love surrounds us tonight. Saviv in Hebrew is their name Bibas, spelled backwards. Viktor Frankl, the well-known Holocaust survivor and father of logotherapy, survived the concentration camps by envisioning his wife Tilly's face in the difficult moments. Frankl was forced to march for miles through the snow in the pitch black with shoes that were falling apart. Every single step was real torture, he wrote. His mind clung to the image of his 24-year-old wife, Tilly. He saw her with uncanny acuteness. He writes, while he kept his inner eye fixed on the image of Tilly, he did not know if she was still alive. But as he concentrated on her image, she became a presence to him. More and more, he felt that she was present. She was with him. The feeling was strong. He realized in those moments that it didn't matter whether she was alive or not. Love goes beyond the person. It is found in the deepest meaning in our inner selves. Love is internal to the lover. Love enabled Viktor Frankl's survival in the concentration camps. Love, I imagine, for his wife, his mother, and his spiritual child, the book that Viktor Frankl so wanted to finish. This love empowered his will to live. Kol Ami, Yarden Bibas, and Viktor Frankl were sustained through life's most terrifying moments by love. Yarden Bibas will be held up through this next phase of his grief by his spiritual Jewish community. And we're here together tonight, Kol Ami, with so many of our founding members of Kol Ami. We are in community. We are sustained together. In community, we mourn. In community, we seek joy. We learn, we rest, and we uplift one another. We find strength, saviv, all together. Kol Ami, we are living in interesting times, as Mason mentioned. We are living in times when our Kol Ami community is deeply needed. We are needed to create a safe space for our LGBTQIA family, for immigrants, for allies, for those who fight for justice. Kol Ami was founded on the Torah of tzedek, of justice, and this vision has never been more necessary or relevant. These interesting times are calling us to open our hearts, to take action, to uplift our values, and to gather together in community, to laugh, to cry, to pray. Shabbat was created to help us refuel. Our journey is going to be a long one. Hopefully not another 40 years, but a long one nonetheless. Tonight, let our prayers and those friends sitting next to us lift us higher. This week, when receiving the Lifetime Achievement Award from SAG-AFTRA, Jane Fonda, actress and activist, said to Hollywood that if you have ever watched a documentary of one of the great social movements, like the Civil Rights Movement, and found yourself wondering, would I be brave enough to walk across that bridge? And she said to the group gathered in the room, make no mistake, this is our documentary moment. We are living it now. Kol Ami, we are in our documentary moment. We are living in a time many of us wanted to believe we would not have to endure again. And I can't tell you how many people told me that a historically queer community is no longer needed in this world. I wanted to believe it. But now we are deeply needed today to stand up for the rights of those who feel safe inside our walls. This community, as Mason Summers told us, and Rabbi Denise Egger, was created out of necessity during the height of the AIDS crisis. This community exists to lift up the needs that others believe in but may not centralize. So I implore you tonight, this Founders Shabbat, with many of those who were in the room when it happened, to help Kol Ami move forward. Join us. Help us once again fight for our rights, for marriage equality, for trans children and athletes, for immigrants' rights. Join us, help us uplift one another through Shabbat song and deep Jewish learning. Help us feed the hungry. Help us uplift our weary hearts. Together, we will march through this documentary moment, crying and laughing, dancing when we can, praying and resting on Shabbat together. We must stay in community, Kol Ami, and we must help all to believe that on the other side of this, there will still be love. I can only imagine what was in Yarden Bibas's mind through those 484 days. But the idea that his vision of the future filled with love fueled him, and the idea that the love Viktor Frankl had for his wife is what kept him alive. Kol Ami, this love is what sustains us forward. Your strength and your love is strong. It has been called upon before, and I call on it tonight. We will lean into our love and our vision for a future where our LGBTQIA+ community can live without fear, a future where our children can be who they are, no matter what pronouns they use or who they love or how they identify, a future where immigrants can speak out loud and be uplifted. I believe in a future, once again, where Jewish and being Jewish can mean celebrating the joy of Shabbat, living outwardly and proud, having no fear of putting on a kippah in the street or proudly displaying your Jewish star around your neck. Kol Ami, our community has resisted so many times before. Stonewall, the AIDS crisis, marriage equality, just to name a few. We understand resistance. There are decades defined by our resistance and resilience. And since January, I have watched many queer activists get up and remind us that we can fight and find joy simultaneously. The messages of Viktor Frankl and Yarden Bibas compel me to say we must. It is a combination of our deep love and being held in community and action that will fuel us forward. So tonight, Kol Ami, we thank you, our founders who are with us in the room, and you, our founders who are with us in our hearts, who had the courage to put your blood, sweat, tears, creativity, and financial resources into creating this congregation. Tonight, we pick up the baton and we march forward together. Saviv, all bound up together, Kol Ami. And I leave you with the words of Viktor Frankl. A thought transfixed me. For the first time in my life, I saw the truth that love is the ultimate and highest goal to which man can aspire. The salvation of man is through love and in love. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thank you. A place of healing and wholeness is here in our community amongst us. That Sukkot Shalom of which Mason spoke, we will create together now. In a moment, the names of those whom Kol Ami is saying healing prayers for will show up on the screen above. But I'm going to invite us, as my hands come across the room, to lift out loud the names of those who you are sending healing prayers to tonight. And then we will pray the Mishaberach, our prayer for healing together.
שברך אמותינו מקור הברכה לאבותינו. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Amen, amen, amen. It is now my honor to invite forward one of our founding members and a member of our board of trustees, Jane Drucker, to share some announcements with you.
Wow. Is this on? Wow. I think Peter and I are maybe the founding members who are here most often, but I really want to welcome back home all of you who are able to pop in from time to time. One of the effects of the last 32 years on me is that it has gotten to be a little bit more difficult for me to get here every week, but I still do try. And so I hope to have a chance to talk to the people behind, I swore I wasn't going to say this, some of the old faces that I love seeing again. I am Jane Drucker, and on behalf of the Board of Trustees of Kol Ami, I want to welcome you to Congregation Kol Ami and to Founders Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom. I want to thank Rabbi Resnick for leading tonight's service. It says here with student Rabbi C.J. Mays, who I saw, but there he is. He's here. We're very blessed to have you. Thank you also to all of our musical team. I can't see the names well enough to read them, so I'm just going to thank you
and
as a lump. But thank you. And of course, to my dear friend Mark Saltzman, who to hear your voice tonight. It's beyond special. Sorry, now the tears have to clear. Seriously. Thank you also to Dan Blatt for sponsoring tonight's dinner in memory of our founding president, John Altschul, and Richard Bernard, Toby Rosen, Wendy Glenn, and Marianne Lowenthal for sponsoring tonight's dinner as well in honor of our founders, of whom I'm honored to be a minor part. I can't say we give our extreme gratitude to our founders, but I certainly give my gratitude to the founders who inspired me to be a part of their effort and to give just a little bit more and a little bit more. There's a founding member that I need to take a moment to mention personally. Today would be Julia Grace Broidy's 73rd birthday. Her name is one of the names that's actually on that backboard there. It's her birthday, not her yard site, so the light's not on. But I encourage all of you youngins and newbies to find a founder and ask them to show you the plaque that bears the name. I'm really sorry. Of one of our colleagues, our founding colleagues, and to tell you a story. There are stories. Most of them are really amusing too. So I promised Lynette, Julia's wife, that I would mention Julia tonight, and many of you have very dear memories of Julia. So we got lots of stuff coming up, and I'm only allowed to share a few of those things with you. I've already exceeded my time. Our Purim Spiel and Drag Extravaganza and Costume Contest celebration is 2 weeks from tonight on Friday night, March 14th. We're bringing the glitz and glam to this extravagant celebration, and we all hope that you will partake. Passover is also right around the corner, and we'll be hosting our traditional second night Seder right here at Kol Ami on Sunday, April 12th. Please join. This is your first second night Seder, April 13th, sorry, I think, okay, whatever it says on there, it's April 13th. I will not be here on the 12th, but I will be here on the 13th. We have always had an amazing time, and I promise you this year will be amazing also. The Kol-Ami Cabaret is also back on April 26th, featuring a night of extraordinary music, starring Broadway star Dana Meller, and featuring music director David Kaminsky and his band, and stage managed by my wife, Lisa Fried. So, you heard it here first. Save the date for our annual gala weekend, beginning on June 27th with a special Shabbat, followed by the installation of Rabbi Resnick on Saturday, June 28th, and our gala on Sunday, June 29th. More information about all of these events and so much more, including registrations, are on our website. Say it with me, www.kol-ami.org. We've also got a printout of, it's somewhere in the building, probably on the table in the back, printout of our March events in the lobby. So as always, I hope that you'll go to the website and keep up to date. I cannot leave here without also thanking Adam Rottenberg for making all of this happen. And I want to challenge each and every one of you. When we chose the name Kol Ami, we chose it because Ami, people, is who we are. We were not going to be a temple, anything. We are not a building. We are a people. And we have a voice. Use your Kol Ami. In these times, we need to speak up.
Amen, Sela. Thank you so much, Jane. It is my pleasure to invite forward Patrick Auerbach to share about a special experience we are offering for all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rabbi. Good evening. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's the voice of our people right there. Thank you. So my nickname is Deco. You know what that stands for? David Kaminsky's other half. He's actually on a flight right now, so he's really sorry he couldn't be here tonight. But I'm up here just really briefly for an important announcement that next week, my partner in crime, Janine Snyder, she and I are co-anchoring, co-leading an initiative, Project Move. And no, we're not moving, believe it or not, unless, you know, we could create some drama around that, but we're not going to. So Move, what does Move stand for? Members, opportunities for volunteerism and engagement. This is our opportunity. We have a wonderful new chapter here under Rabbi Resnick. This is, the words that Mason said tonight, the rabbi said, that everyone said, we are here. There's never been a need greater for Kol Ami than now going forward. So now it's time for everybody to please raise your hand, to please come and learn about volunteer opportunities. You are not signing your life away by volunteering. We have all kinds of different opportunities. You don't even have to be here physically for some of those opportunities. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to have a little showcase next Thursday night, right? We're even going to throw in some dinner. So come for a little food, and we promise it starts at 6:30. It ends at 8 o'clock. Believe in brevity. We believe in getting it done the right way. This is going to be a really lovely affair, but it's not going to be a one-night stand, meaning come that night. Well, some people thought that was funny. I thought it was funny. But please join us that night. Don't tell Janine you're coming. Don't tell me you're coming. Don't tell Adam or the rabbi you're coming. Please, if you are a dues-paying member, please go on the website and RSVP that you're coming. The deadline to register is next Monday. This is next Thursday night at 6:30. Project Move. Members, opportunities for volunteerism and engagement. We hope to see you there. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you so much, Patrick. Good Shabbos. Okay, my friends, I invite you, please, to rise and turn to page 586 for Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
Seated. So those of you who are joining us online, bear with me for a moment. I'm going to go off screen. Another way that we are honoring our founding members is by placing a plaque for our founding members who have gone to the great beyond. This plaque says, for our founding members with everlasting love, and in honor of those who literally have given their lives for this community, I place a stone, and this light will remain ever on for their memory, and that it may be for a blessing for us always. Tonight, we have many to remember and to honor. And so, I first read the names of those in our community who are in a period of Shiva or Shloshim, the first 7 or the first 30 days of mourning. Then I will recite the names of those for whom we are saying Kaddish, and then I will invite those of you who are with us tonight who are mourners to rise and recite the names of your loved ones. We say Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be for a blessing always, for all of our founders who have gone to the great beyond. And for those who are in a period of Shiva and Shloshim, Nike Arigi, friend of Cantor Mark Saltzman and Walter Hubert, Catherine Stover, friend of Cantor Mark Saltzman and Walter Hubert, and Richard Ross, member of our Kol Ami community. And we say Kaddish tonight for Jerry Dye, Ruth Haas, Isaac Klotzman, Helene Zalslavsky, Morton Prentice, Paul Shmonis, John Harrell, Jerry Weiss, Vincent Gabriel, Barbara Acco, Murray Acco, Nadine Holt, Lizzie Taylor, Mina Portman Leviton, Miles Kay, Danita Gibson, Pedro Balderas, Estelle Polyakov, and Murray Mackler. If you are a mourner amongst us tonight, I invite you to please rise and recite the name of your loved one. I invite you all to please rise in support of our mourners, and we recite Kaddish Yatom together on page 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach chirutei ve'amlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv ve'imru amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam olmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitale v'yitalal Shmei dekudesha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba mishamaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. You may be seated. So we have much to celebrate tonight as well. And before we get to the closing of our service, we are so proud of our very own student rabbi, CJ Mays, who is with us tonight, and for whom these amazing slides that you've had the opportunity to view, your virtual prayer book, could not have been created without this incredible rabbi. And we honor and celebrate and say Mazal Tov to our student rabbi, CJ, who next year will be the rabbi of Temple Emmanuel in Honolulu. Congratulations. We're so proud of you, CJ. Stay up here. So I invite I invite our founders forward to help us. You can stay up here to help us with Kiddush and Motzi. Our founders and their partners, please come to the bima to help us close out our ceremony this evening. Gather round, come close. Do we have all the founders? Come closer. Marilyn, hold the Kiddush cup up. Phil, are you here? Are you all here? Gather. Okay, are we ready? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen l'chaim. We lift our challah and we bless. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'tei avon. I don't know if anyone wants. Gather round, everyone. If you're comfortable, put your arms together. Put your arms around one another as we sing and pray for
Shalom
peace.
bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu.
Let's hear you.
Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. 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 Shabbat
Good
shalom.
Shabbos, everyone. Please join us on the roof for dinner. We will see you on the roof. Shabbat shalom.